What's good, YouTube? Boogsy Benjamin back at it again with another video. How are you guys doing this evening? It's been a minute since I put out a video. I know the last video I think we talked about the importance of continuous learning, and using that as leverage to build up on what you've already built on in life, and growing your horizon, growing your circle of competence. Towards the end of that video, I talked about how all of us, really in some form, shape, or fashion, are able to contribute to the economy, contribute to other people in some type of way. You can contribute a service, a product, an idea, a philosophy, a concept. There's something that you can give back to others or organizations in return for monetary compensation, in return for other goods and services and barter exchange. There's always something you can do rather than just to blame your circumstance, rather than just to blame that, maybe I have Alzheimer's, or maybe not Alzheimer's, that's not a good example. Maybe that I've got ADHD, or that I have a 2.0 GPA from college, or I'm disabled. Maybe I'm not able to walk. I have to roll around in a wheelchair, but I still have my mental faculties. There's always a way that you can contribute. Like I said, if you're disabled or aren't able-bodied physically, if you've got your capacities mentally, there's still many ways you can contribute to others and give back to the economy. Really, when you step and think about it. There's always a skill. There's a skill that can be done physically with your body, with your hands, in physical form. But then there's skills that require mental capacity, mental thinking, and thought, and communication. Speaking verbally and exchanging ideas. And I don't like the fact that people, let's say they're laid off from their job and they're having a tough time re-entering the labor market and getting a job, that was similar to what they had before. Let's say, in IT, if you're laid off from Google, it's going to be difficult, especially in this labor market environment, to get or to replace that position you had, let's say with Facebook or, another major tech company. But like I say in previous video, like I've said in previous videos, there's ways you can pivot. If you can't find opportunities in one sector and in one subject, not to be a jack of all trades, but there's always a pivot. There's always something else or something more you can learn, or something different you can learn and apply. If information technology didn't work for you, why not try to pivot into software or artificial intelligence? Or if computers as a whole, or technology and computers as a whole, doesn't work for you, why not pivot to blue collar jobs, construction, framing, flooring, electricians, HVAC, plumbing. Like, there's so many different things you can pivot to and give back to others in really in any fashion. You can start your own business. There's consulting. You can create, artisan business, create crafts, sculptures, creating art that's visually appealing, that tells a story, that communicates, communicates you and your personality and what you're trying to put out in the world. Like, there's so many different things that you can do if you really just sit back and think about it, rather than just harping on your circumstance. And like I say, living in the past, living on what happened to you yesterday. But yesterday's yesterday. We can't go back and we can't fix yesterday. We can't revisit yesterday. But we can choose what tomorrow looks like. We can guide and shape the future based on the actions and the things we do today, based on the now, the present. And I really believe in the little decisions we take today that compound and become major impact, major influences into our future selves. And that ties right perfectly into today's topic of A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. A, after. B, birth. Your life is a series of C, choices before D, death. I'm going to repeat that. A, after birth. B, after birth. A, B. Life is a C, series of choices before D, death. And it's what we do between B and D that really matter. C between B and D is what really matters. And the choices we make, both positive, both negative, the failure to make a decision, the failure to the process of inaction is still also a decision that still has future ripple impacts into your future. For example, not exercising is not an issue. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say not an issue. Not exercising is a choice. Even though you're not taking an action, you're making a choice not to exercise today, but with consequences into for your future self, so that maybe your heart is less healthy into the future. Maybe your body composition is less healthy into the future. You have less muscle mass. You have more a fatty mass. Maybe your blood pressure may start to cause issues and start to have a higher stable line, if you know what I mean. So, even if you make actions today that are detrimental, and even if you make actions that are, even if you don't make any actions and you choose not to act upon, any future circumstance or any future goals or, working towards your future self, action and inaction is still a choice that has ripple effects. And sometimes these things really take you to sit with yourself, take you, sitting and reflecting on truly what it is that you can control about you and your life, and what it is that you can't control. And those things that you can control, what can you do to make better decisions today? How can you make better decisions today so that the choices today lead to better opportunities tomorrow, better decision making tomorrow? And that's in all realms, not just in health, finance wise. What are you doing today? What are you planning today for you, yourself? And if you've got, especially if you have a family, if you're a breadwinner and you've got a family relying on you, what are you doing today to protect your family, to protect your spouse, to protect your children, into the future? Especially if I wasn't around, how would that impact my son and my family? My extended family, my immediate family. The choices we make today to think about the outcomes, to think about situations and think about the dangers of tomorrow, and we make choices today to put plans in place today, both financially, both philosophically. We have philosophies and concepts of life that we apply today. We think about life today so that we plan for tomorrow. There's financial, there's philosophical, there's religious. Your religion could be Christianity, Catholicism, Muslim, Jew, whatever your religion may be. There's things that you can do today, learn and apply today that pay dividends into tomorrow. And vice versa, there's things that you can do detrimental today, such as coveting what others have, such as telling lies, be small or big, such as stealing, such as leading with ill intent when you speak and when you interact with others. These things, although you might see them or may view them as minute issues or minute actions today, they have ripple and growing effects into the future. When you meet someone and you're sizing up someone for the first time, when you're having a conversation, that person is sussing you out the same way that you're sussing them. They're looking at you, they're judging, what you're saying congruent with how you're communicating body wise. They're judging, what is this person all about? What is this person valuing? Does this person have integrity? See, these aren't things that we say explicitly. These are things that we judge, we discern subconsciously. We discern integrity. We can discern honesty. We can discern characteristics. We can discern key characteristics that we naturally project as human beings when we're face to face, when we're in the presence of someone else. So, if I were to meet someone today, if I were to meet, let's say, a client or a potential client, a prospect, and throughout the course of the conversation, let's say I'm presenting an offer for business, and throughout the course of the conversation and the meeting, I tell a few white lies, and I'm caught, or even if I'm not caught, but even if the other party can sense that I'm in a white lie, or can sense that I'm not being fully truthful, those little decisions that I've decided to make, I've decided not to be fully transparent, I've decided not to say and divulge the full truth, they have rippling effects, especially if I repeat this behavior throughout the meeting, throughout the course of the interaction. If it's an hour interaction and I've told 3 or 4 white lies, I've been caught in 1 or 2, or I've used arrogance to state facts that aren't true facts, or I refuse to correct myself when when alternate information presents otherwise. These little decisions, arrogance, the lack of integrity, withholding of key information, and even white lies, even small lies that can change the context of a situation. These little things add up and they matter with any relationship, no matter how young or how old. These things, they build upon your character and build upon the perception of who you are as a person. And I haven't always been uber aware of these concepts and putting these things in practice. I'm not perfect myself, and sometimes I don't even give a fuck what people think about me, just to lay with you bare. But even though we don't give a fuck about what others think of us, we still need to act with responsibility. We still need to behave with. We still need to set an example for behavior. We need to set a standard in terms of, how you operate as a person, as Bugsy Benjamin. How do you operate as Dave East? How do you operate as Johnny Smith? How do you operate as Shaniqua Richards? Like, when you say your name, when someone thinks of you as a human being, as a person, as a philosophy, as an idea, as experience, as a service, as as what you are, as what you exist in this world, what characteristics do they attach to your name? And not to be answered. This, would be more sort of a rhetorical question, a question that you would want to sit with yourself and really think about. When, others think of me, when someone brings up my name, what's the first idea? What's the first perception of me? You know, when someone wants the honest truth, when someone wants to talk something through, when someone wants to be therapized, when someone wants consolement or understanding or wisdom, do they go to you? Do they go to Peter? Do they go to John? Like, I think sometimes we need to think about these things. And to the topic of not really giving a fuck. So in that aspect, you shouldn't care what others think of you, as long as you know internally that you've made the right decision. I think that's what I'm trying to say. If I know I've made the right decisions, I came with pure intentions. I came without an agenda. I came of service to provide knowledge, to, give wisdom, to divulge or to be as much help as I can, rather than I didn't come to take. I didn't come for what I can gather or what I can, take from you or take from the situation. I come for what I can give, what I can provide. How can I be of service to the situation, to the person, to the organization, to the group, to the culture, to you name it. So when you come with that sense, when you come with that energy, naturally you're not going to give a shit what others think of you and how they perceive you, as long as you know you're doing the right things. And you've done the work. If you've done the work, how you're perceived by others at the end of the day shouldn't really matter, when you come with true and pure intention. So, life really is, after birth, a series of choices before death. And, we don't get to choose our circumstances. We don't get to choose where we're born. We don't get to choose at what year or what time we're born. We don't get to choose our family, our culture, our country of origin. We don't get to choose when we die. And almost to a certain extent, how we die. But we can choose everything in between. We can choose from God-given life till God taketh life, till death, and everything in between, the experiences, the relationships, the decisions, the choices. That's all in between. That's life. It's just a series of choices, experiences, and relationships, and how we navigate through the seas of life. And, this is a core concept that I kind of want people to think about. And I know in the previous video, I had briefly touched on, towards the latter part of the video, how, all of us have somewhere some form of contributing back economically to the economy, back to others. And kind of want to touch on that point too, because that somewhat plays into the idea of making choices, making the right choices, regardless of what your circumstance, regardless of what situation you have put yourself in or God has put you in. There's circumstances that God has placed us in. God has placed all of us, us 8-9 billion humans on this planet, each of us in a unique circumstance, each of us a unique human being with unique experiences and gifts and skills and knowledge and lifespans. We're all unique in that aspect. But in the same aspect, in the same token, we've been given these things that, to a certain extent, we can't control. Like for me, I can't control my skin color. I can't control the brain that God has given me. I can't control my height. I can't control my ethnicity, my genetics. But I can control how I manage this body that God has given me. I can control how I put it through exercise. I can control what I'm exposed to in terms of what I read, what I watch, who I spend my time with. I can control my time that I have between B and D to a certain extent. What I do with my time, the choices I make with the time that I have. But I don't know how much time I have. I know I've got time, I just don't know how much time. So knowing that, it's probably imperative that I make better decisions today, knowing the fact that I don't know how much time I've got. Because if I make bad decisions today and I thought I had this much time, when in reality I actually have this much time, then, did I live? Did I live to my potential? Did I take advantage of the opportunities that was placed in front of me? Did I open enough doors? Did I speak to enough people? Did I interact? Did I connect with enough people? Did I share enough wisdom? Like, these are all things that I think as I get older and as we all get older, we think about, because we start to value time as we get older. Time becomes more precious. Time becomes more real. As we get older and people start to drop down, people start to pass away, people start to get sick, people start to, regress, both health-wise, both financially. People start to, I shouldn't say victim blame, but blame their circumstances rather than blame the decisions they made to lead themselves to the circumstances that they're in. That is one thing that it's probably a fear of mine. A fear of mine, is really just being on my deathbed and, even not even on my deathbed, even if I know I'm about to die, just the regret of not doing the things or accomplishing the things that I've promised myself to accomplish, or connecting with people that I wish I had connected with, or that I, fixing or attempting to fix relationships that I have always wanted to truly reach out and fix, but didn't, for whatever reason, from being scared, or from being afraid of the confrontation, or from being afraid of what they might think, or their perception. My fear is really not taking advantage of opportunities, whether they're visible or not, especially the invisible opportunities. Because if you really look, there's opportunities in any and everything, in every circumstance, good or bad. There's opportunities when someone's born. There's opportunities when someone's passed away. There's insights that we can gain from just observing young children, and there's insights that we can gain from the elderly, and the whole gamut in between. Conversations, I believe, should be treated as an opportunity to learn from the other person. And in exchange, you give something in return. Maybe that's a piece of knowledge. Maybe that's a piece of advice. Maybe that's a perspective that might differ from theirs. Maybe that's a way of thinking that might change or open up a whole world of thinking, or might transform a concept for them that could change their whole trajectory in life. Like, these are the things that I live for, because I know these things have impacted me. There's been situations, conversations, circumstances that I remember uniquely to this day that have changed my trajectory and the outcome of my life. So I know that I can have that same impact on others. Choices. Life really just comes down to a series of choices. Good, bad, small, big, impactful, non-impactful. This is a pretty deep video. My videos tend to dig pretty deep, since we're talking about philosophy, life, health, money. So I'm gonna leave it at that for today. Short video for you guys. Actually, you know what? No. I'll give you guys a little bit of bonus. There was a couple things I wanted to touch on. I forgot. Normally, when I start these videos, I try to start them with kind of giving you an update in terms of what's happened over the past, couple weeks. So, I forgot to kind of give you guys a rundown on what's going on in my life. But yeah, life is good. My family's good. My agency is doing well. We are actually a top 20 agency in Canada for our company. So, we're doing well. We're out here. I'm in a new relationship. Somehow stumbled up into a new I don't know how this keeps happening, but somehow found myself in a new relationship. Just stumbled upon a new relationship over the past month. So that's growing or kindling. I should say rekindling. I've known her for over 10 years. I've known her since like 2013, 2014. So it's been over 10 years. So we had recently rekindled back, and here I am somehow, in another relationship. She met my son as well. They chatted over FaceTime, so that was cool. They got to meet each other and chat and kind of shoot the shit and see how each other feel each other's personalities out. So that's cool. My son's hilarious. He's a talkative, lovely young child. Love him to pieces. So smart, growing so fast. Yeah, what else is going on? That's pretty much it, really. I need to open up a life insurance policy for my son soon as well. So that's going to be some more expense. And, I'm not trying to have any more children too, on that relationship topic. I can't afford another life insurance policy. So I'm one and done. I don't think I'm going to have any more children. I thought about what do you guys think about vasectomies? And, what do you guys think about vasectomies? Should I get one? What are the effects of the vasectomies? And, how do you guys feel about it? Is it beneficial? Is it, how's the recovery too? How did it hurt? I don't really care about the pain, but yeah, I'm just been thinking about that too. The worst thing I could do at this stage of my life in my mid-30s is to fuck it all up and have another child and get put back on child support for 18 years and, I've been talking all this nonsense here on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, to make better decisions, and I'm not taking my own advice. So, yeah. Yeah. But, see you guys on the next video. It's Boozy Benjamin. It's been real. Any new subscribers, I don't really check the comments too much. But, from here and there, I kind of see what the subscriber count looks like, or, if there's any intriguing comments or, updates on my videos, I'll like them back. But honestly, I spend more time consuming knowledge and videos on YouTube rather than putting out knowledge and putting out content. So that's probably going to stay. I don't know how people that are spending hours on YouTube just putting out videos, just be staying on camera for, 5 hours a day. I don't know how you guys do it. It's exhausting for me to even put these videos out uncut. I don't know how you guys do it for hours straight, day after day after day, year after year after year, and have, thousands of hours of content. You guys are 100 times better than me. I couldn't be the one. I couldn't do it. I don't have the stamina. I don't have the social media stamina for that. So, I'm going to keep it nice and pace. Keep it steady. I think, 1-2 video a month is pretty good. Especially for a channel like this, kind of philosophy based. I thought about starting an aviation channel for, watching aircraft take off and land and depart, and but I kind of live far from the airport, so it's a mission and a half to get to the Toronto airport and then back to record. And I don't think Toronto airport has any plane spotting spots that are close, near active runways the way they have it at Montreal Trudeau Airport. that park. I forget what the park's name, but it's right right in front of runway 06 right. Sorry, 06 left, 24 right, I think it is. Or 06 right, whatever it is. They have a park right in front of the runway. You can literally see planes take off and land, within meters of you. I don't think Toronto has anything like that, so I don't think the aviation channel is going to be a thing. I also thought about breaking off and having another channel dedicated to more so the economic investments, finance, that side of me. But I kind of already wrapped that into these videos too, because it's still, finance and economics and macro, micro, corporate law, industries, market dynamics, stock, like those to a certain extent is still pretty much a philosophy. I feel like I think every investor has their own philosophy in terms of how they invest and how they navigate and control and manage their capital. So I might as well just keep one channel, kind of wrap those same ideas and topics into the one idea, or to the one concept of philosophy, because philosophy can be applied really to anything. There's a philosophy on money, like I said. There's a philosophy on culture. There's a philosophy on health and exercise. There's a philosophy on family and relationships. It's a philosophy on seeing life, on seeing how economics and geopolitics. There's a philosophy really for everything. There's a philosophy and frameworks for seeing life in so many different ways. So I think that's what I'm probably going to do, just as I see fit, just wrap up new ideas, new topics, new ways of thinking. This video is basically a thinking channel for ideas, concepts, developing new ideas and concepts and transforming them, as life changes, as people change, we change, our culture, our communication, our language, our food, immigration patterns, population, demographics. These things all change with time, and they change pretty quickly, especially with technology. I feel like technology is just accelerating the pace of human change. And as things change, we need to be fast enough and aware enough, cognizant enough to keep up, to recognize the change in our environment, and to navigate and course correct. And that's how we stay ahead. That's how we remain as predators. We're predators out here in the wild, searching for prey. You can't, you're either a prey or you're either a predator or you're prey. You can't be in between. You can't not be a prey and not be a predator. You got to pick a side. Pick your, what's they saying? Pick your medicine. So, yeah, yo, Bugsy Benjamin. I'll see you guys on the next video. Topic will be undisclosed. I'm not going to give you guys any lead-on topics because kind of fucked up my flow for this video. I know fuck it. See you guys on the next video. Bugsy Benjamin. Peace.